sisters, and welcome back to
the Breathe and Bond podcast,
where we are raising Sen kings and queens. This is where Sen parenthood meets womanhood and sisterhood. Right here, you're going to get all the real talk. It's going to be wrapped in a lot of truth, a lot of love, and a whole lot of laughter.
And we're so glad you're here. My name is Tola.
And my name is Tiwa, and we are two mums raising incredible,
Amazing,
wonderful boys.
beautiful
Listen,
boys.
we're here figuring it out as we go. And we're so glad that you are on this journey with us.
Absolutely.
Let's get into it.
What are we talking about?
Today.
Sis.
Yeah. We're
Yeah.
talking about Diagnosis Day.
Oh,
Yeah.
the day all changed.
The day it all became extremely real.
Wow.
Do you remember what that day was for you, T?
I remember it like it was yesterday, actually. I remember it starting and being over in a flash. I don't think it was a day that I processed. Because I've had experiences of other people's diagnosis day, and then it made me look back at mine and be like, goodness gracious, you were so absolutely clueless.
Tell me about the day.
So this was a very long day ago, 15 years ago to be quite precise, and we had to go into a center. It was myself and my husband, and there was a clinical psychologist, and she actually looked more distraught than I was because I was that clueless. Like, she was saying, the way there's this soft landing before they give you a big blow. It was like that. I just remember her voice being soft and saying, I'm afraid, Kevin has autism. I was like, okay. But my husband was very upset. And I think it must be the first and last time I seen him that emotional. And I think it's because he understood it way more than I did, because he was already working in that setting. Wow. For me, it was just okay. Like, I didn't get the gravity of it. And I think the gravity of it came much, much after Diagnosis Day. Like, it started to sink in a lot later. Because up until, and like, when Kevin was younger, my mom used to always say, by 5, he will start talking. Even your brother did not talk until 5. So, and he got his diagnosis when he was 4. And for everything that he wasn't quite doing yet, there was an explanation. So he's not talking because boys are slow. He's not talking because he's an only child. He's not talking because, there was always something that was the explanation. So it didn't really leave real room for worry for me, even though I knew, like, there was other children that, were way past him, but I still always had this catch-up mentality that, by the time, he goes to school, that used to be my mentality, that, by the time he goes to school, surely he'll be talking. And I'm the last kid. Like, I have 4 older brothers, so it's not like I had real time experience. So, Diagnosis Day was almost just another day for me. It was the reality of the parenting that then felt like what Diagnosis Day should have felt like for me.
I remember sitting in the living room.
Okay.
2023.
You were told in the living room?
Yeah, because it was still after a time. So for anyone who is watching for the first time, my little boy's only 6 years old. So this
Mine's
day
19.
for me wasn't that long ago, if I'm being honest. In 2023 is when we officially got his diagnosis. And we were sitting in the living room because you now had the option of doing it on Zoom. I remember logging on, sitting next to his dad. And I remember shaking. I remember seeing.
Were you shaking because you knew it was coming? Sorry,
I didn't. I just was all of a sudden, I don't know, I think I was nervous, I was anxious, and I still don't know how to explain, but my body knew something before my mind did. That's the only way I can describe it.
Did you know a lot about autism before diagnosis day?
We will get to the lead up.
Okay.
Because it took 18 months to even get to that place. Because the whole assessment journey, and if you watch our episodes before this, guys, you will see the assessment journey that it was long as about 18 whole months. Wow. So now on that day, sitting on that living room on Zoom, I will never forget. I still remember her face. I still remember her name. And I knew from her face, there was that lowliness. There was that somberness.
I hear it.
And she said, she had an accent. You guys, I don't know if you've watched the episodes before, but you know, I have a thing about accents, so I got to do the accent. And she said, so mom and dad, you get used to just being called mom and dad. We believe that your son is on the autistic spectrum. We believe your son is on. I burst out into tears. I had a full, not a minor, a full breakdown, crying, heaving, didn't know if I could breathe. I remember his dad holding my hand and squeezing, like he just knew. I just knew. I don't know, but I couldn't hold it together. And when I think back, I think in the moment, I don't think it was just sadness. I think it was for 18 months, and I'm feeling it now even as I'm speaking, for 18 months I had been holding my breath. Everything that he did, I didn't know if it wasn't. There was guilt about even saying, oh, we think he's autistic, so sorry for this, oh, we think he might be this. There was questions between my head and my faith with, am I not a Christian anymore? Do I not have faith anymore because I believe he might be? I think, parents, siblings, sisters, everyone, some people even like, no, he's not, they're just throwing all these diagnoses around. There were so many things that in that moment, 18 months, I could finally just breathe. I finally had a reason. Something came together to be like, and I just broke down.
That's
Just broke down.
Wow.
Yeah, I will never forget. I just cried and cried and cried, and they let me. They let me cry until I was ready, and then we stopped, and they talked about what it meant. I will never forget, she said, and I hope someone here, because Tola, remember, the people listening, they might be finding out today. Someone might be listening that is just heard last week, today, tomorrow, who's waiting. And she said something that I'll never forget, that I hope another parents really takes in today. She said, Levi is still Levi.
I remember someone saying that to me as well.
Levi is still Levi, and this diagnosis does not change the son you knew. It's just giving you the tools that you need to be the parents that he needs.
Wow. That's deep, sis. Because it's completely different from my diagnosis.
And I think, sis, that's the beauty. I think that's the beauty. And guys, nobody's journey is the same.
No.
Some people break down, some people don't break down. Some people are already accepting, some people don't know. Like, it's okay.
Just confirmation sometimes for others. And I hear it because it's the 18 months of anticipation where, is it not? Is it not? Back in the day when my son was diagnosed, I don't remember there being a waiting list. Like we were told, oh, you should take him for an assessment, and everything kind of moved on quickly. So there wasn't a real anticipation. We did go to some assessments where, oh, put this jigsaw here, do this, do that. But I didn't really, and the words were used, but it's not a word that I'm used to.
I just thought of an analogy, and this happens to me sometimes as I'm talking and I get a picture pop up in my head. Imagine, for all of you Coca-Cola people, all of you people that like to be drinking Coca-Cola.
What's wrong with Coca-Cola?
Don't mind me, I'm one of them.
Because I was gonna say, weren't you drinking Coca-Cola yesterday?
And I tried to kind of thingy it, but it was like for 18 months someone had been shaking the bottle. Yeah,
Ready to
It
Let
was
something
like for 18
loose.
months, someone had been
Sis.
shaking the bottle of Coca-Cola, and diagnosis day was like somebody unscrewing the
open
lid.
it. Burst of emotions.
Pause for the cause.
Wow.
Pause for the cause. Because I want someone to take that in, because you might even be feeling that way right now. It was like being shaken for 18 months, and finally someone had just taken the lid off. So that emotion, and I'm realizing now, even as I'm speaking, what that was, sis, was the bottle being just released.
Release.
And everything that happens when there is a release, and all the emotions that come out when there's a release. And that's what it was. And if that's you, that's okay.
That's
okay.
absolutely fine. Wow. Wow.
What do you wish you knew?
Before diagnosis.
Yeah.
I wish
Or
I knew,
or
I wish
even
I knew
at
about
diagnosis.
autism. I honestly wish I knew before, but if you guys take this back, it was back in the day. I didn't even have Wi-Fi at home. I remember after Kevin was diagnosed, I had to go to the library to have access to the computer. This was in 2008 or 9. Like, this was yonks ago. And I knew that for my husband to cry like that, and for that lady to look as sad as she did, it has to be some big
serious.
thing. So I had to go to the library. I remember this, and I Googled what is autism, and gruesome stuff came up.
Lord of mercy.
Like things around institutions,
Mercy,
and your
Jesus.
child might not walk,
God
and
of mercy.
might not talk, might not have
no.
friends.
Jesus.
All the horrid stuff that keeps you up at night and becomes your nightmare. And that's why I say diagnosis day for me was after, because that's when I then understood the enormity of what this diagnosis is and how it's not, because up until that point, I used to always think that by the time he goes to school, everything will be hunky-dory. Like, things will happen. And it's not like things will not happen, because it's been such a journey from then till now. But back in the day, there wasn't a model. I didn't know. My son is my first insight into autism. Nobody in my networks, nobody in my life had a diagnosis. So I'm being told this thing, and I have this child that's mine to look after, to shape, to support, to advocate for, when I am clueless myself. At least now there's resources, and I love it for moms. I love it for us where we're at now. But there was no real roadmap, and it's the isolation for me. I say it all the time, because the first thing you do is look around you and try to take inspiration or source or knowledge from somewhere or something. And I didn't have that.
Do you know what I wish I knew? That diagnosis day was the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. I wish differently. I had done a lot of research on autism. 18 months I had done research. And there was something inside me, and I don't know if we should talk about this now, or maybe we should, but there was this moment in time where he was really young. He was on his tiptoes, and I sat there. I've told you about this story before. And I sat there, and something inside me, it's like I heard something just go, autism. I happened to be on the phone to my sisters at the time. And I was like, girls, it was a free one. I was like, I just heard this thing. I just looked at Levi and heard this word, autism. And, you know, my sisters are the same as me. Nigerian and Christian. God forbid. I reject that. And then one of my sisters was like, but you know, she said something else that was a bit more open from that day. And that was like a year before. Wow. That was way before then. Even before we had even started the assessment. So not a year, maybe even 20 months or something. Wow. Maybe nearly 2 years. So by that point, diagnosis day, I had already done courses. We had already thought about what autism could mean and things like that.
That's great that you've done that.
It was amazing, but it didn't prepare me for diagnosis day. And that's why I said it's the end of one. Maybe in a way now I can see, not necessarily for the day. I don't think anything can prepare you for the day of a diagnosis. And unfortunately, especially in my family, we've had a few of those days.
I see.
we've had a few diagnosis days,
Yes.
and it feels like with each of them, nothing prepares
something
you for the
unique
gravity,
about
the
it.
heaviness of someone confirming
Something.
confirming symptoms and giving you a name for it. So yeah, diagnosis day, it was the end of wondering what was happening and then what if stage. It was the beginning of something definitive. It was the beginning of having a
start of a
substance, having
journey.
a reason. Yeah, but it was the start of a whole new one, sis.
I hear it.
And like, it makes me realize now, maybe what I want to say to the people watching is having a diagnosis without support in place, without still extra learning your child, without support network means nothing. Means nothing. You can have it doesn't mean anything. You still need to understand your child's strengths and needs. You need to understand exactly what a diagnosis means for your child. Because guess what, sis? Autism for Levi does not look like the same
another
autism
child.
for Kevin.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And the rest of the beautiful children that have that condition. Autism doesn't look like that for the same. So having the word was brilliant, but now understanding
child.
what it means for my
For your
child day to
child.
day, what it means for me day to day, who I had to become for my child's specific needs, what it means for now school day to day, what it means for my work day to day. Oh, that was a
big
journey.
in
That was a
itself.
journey that had to unfold itself. And I
Absolutely.
wish I knew that. I wish I knew that. Okay, I wish there was a voice saying just before, sis,
Wow.
Tiwala did garner the strength. You're gonna need it. You're gonna need a refreshing every day. You're gonna need a pouring in every day. You're gonna need good friends. You're gonna need a good support network. You're gonna need to be fiery at school. You're gonna need to be smart and make friends with your school. I wish there was someone that told me every day, you're going to need new grace. You're going to need new strength. You're going to need a new mindset because this is not going to be easy, and it doesn't stop at diagnosis day.
Doesn't stop at diagnosis day. Begins even way before that. And I know I keep going back to back in the day because a lot of things now I love for new parents because there's resources. But I saw all the signs. I didn't know a name for it. I didn't know it was a thing. Yeah. And I know that following that, then you start to piece things together. It starts to make some sort of sense. But it wasn't that the tiptoeing wasn't happening, or he wasn't covering his ears. He was doing all of these things that I know that even though I didn't know the name of what it was, I was still making accommodations for. Like my son just never ate saucy foods, but I knew not to feed him what he doesn't like, even though I didn't know that there was a name for a condition that he has. So learn your child. They teach you. With every moment, there's something to be learned. If you know your child, it would make your journey that tad bit. It's peace for yourself. Peace for yourself is knowing your child and accommodating the need as it comes about.
That was Tola, you said something there. Yeah, you said something.
I think all of the
They
accommodations,
teach us.
they constantly.
Okay, let's throw out on, let's do this thing where we throw out nuggets.
What?
So that so our beautiful sisters and brothers out there do not miss these things. And we said one thing at the beginning of this that was amazing. I said it's still amazing. It was, I wish I knew that the diagnosis date was the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. And then you said there, your child teaches you.
They don't stop.
I wish I knew that the learning that I would need wouldn't only come from a textbook or a course or what I was trying to run and get all this information. The learning will come directly from my baby.
Yeah.
And the way he looks at me, touched me, made a sound, whatever he did was going to be learning to the mother I need to be for him. And he's teaching me who he is. He's just living. Even without the diagnosis, he's just showing me who he is. He's just letting me learn him. And
that's
amazing.
You have to be in a space because all of these things happen and it could go right over your head.
Because you're so bogged down with the day-to-day challenges and how difficult it is to just adjust to your life. There's a bit though, and I don't want us to miss this bit. Do you remember how your family and friends reacted?
There was it was never a conversation that was had.
Wow.
Sis, you have to remember how long ago this was. There was no conversations. These conversations weren't happening. I didn't sit anybody apart from myself and my husband that was in the room. We were the family that knew. I never sat any of my parents' siblings. Like, and the thing as well is, like, Kevin is the first grandchild of my family. So we didn't have any other grandchildren to pitch him up against. This is the Kevin that we knew and loved. We didn't know any different. So there was not ever a real conversation. Like, we just knew Kevin didn't like this because Kevin didn't like it. We knew Kevin didn't do this because Kevin didn't do it. Do you get what I mean? I think it's only in recent days that we actually actively use the word autism. It was just never a thing, sis. There was no conversations happening. And it's not a good thing because it just increases your isolation because it's not conversations that anyone is having. So you don't even know what way to even go about. It's not like I don't want to sit my parents down and tell them about it. But how do you do that? To very Nigerian parents. And it's not like they can't see it themselves. They know that, but guess what the answer was? Prayers. Lots of prayers and fasting.
I remember.
Lots of prayers and fasting.
I remember.
How was it for you?
I remember there was something serious happening at that time in my family.
Okay.
And there was there was another diagnosis being found out around the same time. So I remember not talking about it much in the beginning.
Okay.
But what I will say and what I do remember is there were so many things that floated about, and this is in both sides of the family. I remember one statement being, autism is not in our dictionary.
Ooh.
I remember another moment, which was, I remember my dad actually was like,
Wow. You deep side like that.
Yeah. Wow. I remember one of the other parents, I don't know if it was my mom actually, or if it was my dad too, saying, and you can correct my Yoruba if I'm thinking here, but it was like, Kilunje gong, what is
it?
And that means, what does
What
autism even mean? I
This was
remember,
only 6 years ago.
I
sis.
remember one of the statements
Yes.
also being, okay, but will he talk?
Oh.
I remember friends challenging it. I remember a couple of my friends, but are they sure? But how do they know? But what's the difference between autism and another thing that another child can do that's just like another younger child? Or how do we know it's not just a delay? It was a roller coaster of up, down, far off, right here, and some, but very, very few. Very, very few people just being able to be like, okay, Tiwa, what do you need?
So do you feel
And how
like
do
it
you
was
feel?
like a gathering of opinion? Did you feel overwhelmed by it?
I don't know if I can say I don't remember if I felt overwhelmed because, like I said, there was,
Because it was so varying.
And
Some
there
people
was-
saying, what is
and
it?
it wasn't the only situation happening at the time. It wasn't the only situation happening at the time. But what I just remember is that I had supportive, I can't accept this, I'm right here, what do you need? But how do we know this is even autism? I think, and I don't, it was very, very few people that were able to actually hold space for just us.
You had all of the above.
And just
sis.
be like, what do you guys need? What do you need
All of
here?
the above.
But it's not even their fault. But yeah, that was the day.
Wow.
So we've said so much today, and we just want to encourage mums, dads, the tribe out there. If diagnosis day, whether it was yonks ago like you,
Like me,
or whether it was just a few years ago like me, or whether it's today, remember, it's the start of one journey, it's the end of another.
Yes.
You've got this. Take your time. Remember that you are learning. Your child is teaching you. And this is a journey. You're not going to know everything. Take it one step
At a time.
at
Give
a time.
yourself grace.
Yeah.
Take time. Don't forget yourself. Thank you for listening to this episode.
We hope that something in this episode made you feel seen, made you feel loved, made you feel heard, and made you remember the diagnosis day is not the end. Well, it's the end of something. It's the beginning of something else. If this touched you, if you know someone that needs this, please share this with someone who needs that love and light today.
And remember, our lives can be beautiful too.
Keep breathing.
Keep bonding.
And we'll see you
on the
next
one.
time.
Peace out.
Double.